And you mentioned a lot of names that do intrigue me. They've added a lot of weapons there. Cam Meredith probably being the most intriguing if he can get on the field. We kind of love his potential as a Marquise Colston almost body and style of play. I don't know if there's a way to really assess him, though, because I know he's been missing a lot of time. But what do you expect from him being in this offense, and what kind of impact do you think he could have with the Saints?
Yes, that's kind of the problem. You look at his tape and the stuff he did 2 years ago. He looks like the type of player that would fit him perfectly in this offense, in that role, kind of in the slot. That's another thing with Thomas, who he got a lot of targets out of the slot, and it kind of got him off some of that coverage every now and then. And if they have Meredith in there, he might not get those same amount of looks. So that's another thing, maybe working against Thomas repeating his numbers. But because I say that, he'll probably blow those numbers out of the water. But yeah, I do think Meredith could be in that role if he's healthy and he comes back. Yesterday, I don't even know what day of the week it is. Wednesday. On Wednesday was his first time back from a strained oblique. So it wasn't the knee that was keeping him out of practice, which is a good thing. But when he's been out there, he's looked good. It's just we haven't seen a whole lot of him out there. But he's definitely, if you can get him, he's somebody that seems like could be a good value pick, and I could see him having a good year here as long as he is healthy.
Do you consider him being kind of the number 2 on the target totem pole behind Thomas, or would somebody else like Ted Ginn, who had a solid but unspectacular debut last year, still maintain that number 2 role? Do you think?
So tough to say. I mean, Tre'Quan Smith has been so good too that I could see him. That there's a scenario where if he makes that run up, I feel like Tre'Quan and Cam Meredith, they're kind of more like in direct competition with one another. And there is some overlap between Tre'Quan and Ted Ginn, because Tre'Quan can get deep and do some of that stuff too. But I feel like, the Saints have always kind of had that burner, the Devery Henderson type. I feel like that's kind of like Ted Ginn. He's in that role. So, and Tre'Quan, man, like there were stretches during this camp, weeks at a time, where it just felt like he had like 2-3 incredible highlights every single day. He's maybe come back to earth a little bit, but he's still showing up quite often. And if Meredith isn't playing, there's a scenario where, Tre'Quan jumps ahead of him, and then, in some of these looks, when they're 2 receivers, he could be the other guy out there. So that's a tough one to gauge. I really think it's a 3-headed race there.